This woman hears an Indian girl singing beautifully and brings her to her husband, the governor, saying she wants to take the girl home as a pet. The governor gives his men a look, and one of them pulls out 2 coins, tossing them on the ground like charity. The mother, thinking the lady paid for her daughter's singing, humbly thanks her again and again. But the woman doesn't even glance at her, she just pushes her new pet into the carriage. Only then does the mother realize what's happening. She rushes to the carriage, drops to her knees, and begs them to let her daughter go. Without a word, a soldier pulls out his gun to shoot her, but the governor stops him. He thinks Indians aren't worth the bullet and scolds the soldier for wasting it. The mother is confused. She doesn't understand English. The soldier grabs a thick wooden club and swings it with all his might, smashing it into her head. She dies on the spot. The villagers are furious but helpless. The little girl is taken to the woman's castle, becoming a toy for her to show off to the other British wives. But she doesn't know how much trouble she's caused. The girl has a brother named Bhim, the king of this jungle. To lure prey, he smears chicken blood on himself as bait. The scent spreads quickly, and soon a snarling grey wolf appears. Bhim turns and runs, trying to lead it into a trap. But as he runs, he notices something wrong. Huge footprints suddenly appear on the ground. That means a massive beast is nearby. Suddenly, a tiger leaps from the bushes. Bhim barely dodges, and the wolf crashes into the tiger. They tumble before stopping. The tiger roars, and the wolf, terrified by its size, flees with its tail between its legs. The tiger hesitates, then turns and chases Bhim. He sprints desperately but slips, grabbing a wooden stake from the ground. The tiger crashes into it but isn't hurt. Its thick hide protects it. It charges again, closing the gap. Just as it's about to bite him, Bhim lunges. Someone in the trees throws a rock, and the tiger falls into the trap, meant for wolves, not a beast this big. The tiger thrashes, breaking the ropes holding the trap. Bhim jumps up, grabbing the rope and using his own strength to hold the tiger back. The two beasts glare at each other, roaring as if fighting for the title of Jungle King. Bhim gains the upper hand, pulling the rope tighter, dragging the tiger backward in the net. But just as he's about to secure the hook, the rope snaps. The tiger shakes off the dirt, ready to attack again. In the nick of time, a tribesman drops a sealed jar from the trees. Bhim grabs it and smashes it into the tiger's face. With sheer human strength, he holds off the beast until the sedative takes effect. The tiger finally collapses. Bhim doesn't want to harm animals. He only hunts to save his sister. Meanwhile, an Indian officer arrives at the British office, urging them to return the girl. He knows her brother is dangerous and worries Bhim's anger will bring British retaliation and put him at risk. But the British officer dismisses him. The governor warns him again. The girl's brother is already in the city, hiding anywhere, a threat to the governor's safety. Only then does the officer realize the gravity of the situation. He reports to the governor, but the British look down on them. Why would they fear an unarmed man? A local officer steps forward and confidently promises to catch the man in one day. The chairman responds that they don't know the suspect's name or appearance. Everyone falls silent. No one wants this impossible task. Seeing no volunteers, the governor's wife immediately offers a reward. Whoever catches that Indian man will be promoted to special officer, second only to the governor. As expected, someone takes the bait. A voice from the crowd shouts, "Do you want him dead or alive?" It's the lowest-ranking security captain. The governor's wife looks dismissive until the police chief whispers that this man, Ram, is Indian. 3 months ago, when thousands of Indians surrounded a police station, Ram charged through the crowd alone. His fearless attack scared off the rioters, making him famous overnight. "Please," the governor's wife says, "bring him alive, and you'll be special officer." Meanwhile, Bhim, the forest king, wears ordinary clothes and hides at a repair shop while searching for his sister. He doesn't know British police are hunting him, especially Ram. A train's oil tank leaks, causing wheels to slip. The derailed train sparks a fire that grows rapidly. An explosion sends a carriage crashing through the bridge railing. Another blast hurls a boy into the river. He struggles onto a small boat surrounded by burning oil. From the bridge, Ram sees the crisis but can't help alone. He signals the crowd, where Bhim stands. Their eyes meet. Bhim races his motorcycle onto the bridge as Ram lays out a rope on horseback. With quick gestures, they understand each other. Both tie the rope around their waists. Bhim accelerates while Ram grabs a flag. They leap opposite directions, using the rope to balance and rescue the boy. After tossing him ashore, they clasp hands, laughing at their instant teamwork. Since then, they're inseparable, eating together, training side by side closer than lovers. Yet both keep their missions secret. Bhim seeks his sister. Ram investigates suspects using portraits. One day, Ram visits an Indian resistance group. His bold speeches win trust. Beam's tribesman whispers that British soldiers took their girls. They plan to raid the governor's mansion and need Ram's help. Secretly thrilled, Ram plans to trap them for information about Beam. But a soldier's sudden salute exposes Ram. The tribesman flees into the crowd, escaping. Beam comes up with another plan. One day, the governor's office is hiring workers, so Beam's tribesman joins the line, hoping to sneak inside. But he doesn't have a pass, and a soldier slaps him, then beats him with a stick. Beam and his friends try to help, but suddenly, a British woman stops the soldier and saves the tribesman. Beam is moved by her beauty and kindness, but finding his sister is more important, so he pushes the thought aside. Later, Beam and Ram are searching the streets near the governor's mansion when Beam spots the woman again. Ram notices his friend's interest and decides to help. He scatters nails on the road where her car will pass, puncturing her tire. With Ram set up, the woman has no choice but to ride with Beam. She introduces herself as Jenny and, to thank them, invites them to a party at the governor's mansion the next day. Back home, Beam is thrilled. This is his chance to get inside, see Jenny, and secretly search for his sister. Ram thinks he's just lovesick and doesn't suspect anything. The next day, two strikingly handsome Indians walk into the governor's mansion, leaving everyone, including Jenny, stunned. Jenny happily asks Beam to dance. After the party, Jenny invites them for coffee. Ram declines, giving Beam space to act alone. They drive past security in their jeep and finally enter the mansion. To search for his sister, Beam pretends to be hungry, sending Jenny away, then rushes through every room. Suddenly, he stops. A barred cell catches his eye. Inside is his sister. He can't free her alone, so he promises to return the next night with help. Meanwhile, Ram captures one of Beam's men and drags him to a dark room for interrogation, trying to uncover their leader. But the man stays silent. During the torture, his amulet necklace falls. He taps the ground, summoning a snake, then grabs it. When Ram returns, the man flings the snake at him, biting his arm. Laughing coldly, the man says only his people have the antidote. Without it, Ram will die in an hour. Panicked, Ram cuts the man loose and stumbles outside before collapsing. Luckily, Beam, just leaving the mansion, finds him. Recognizing the snake bite, he uses his own antidote to save Ram. Beam tries to give Ram his amulet necklace, but Ram freezes. The man who bit him had the same one. He realizes the person he's been hunting is his own best friend. Beam takes Ram home. Once Ram recovers, Beam confesses his plan to storm the governor's mansion, knowing he might not survive. He asks Ram to remember their friendship if he doesn't return. As Beam leaves, Ram tries to stop him but can't. His injuries hold him back. Beam is too weak to move, and the snake venom leaves Ram unable to speak. He can only watch helplessly as Beam leaves. The next day, Beam drives straight into the headquarters. Inside his truck is his secret weapon, a pack of fierce wild animals. He releases the beasts he's hunted over the past few days, then swings a torch in his hand. Terrified, the animals stampede wildly, attacking every soldier in the governor's compound. This is exactly what Beam planned, to create chaos and rescue his sister. While dodging the attacking beasts, he searches for his sister. Luckily, she's still safe. She tries to run, but a soldier grabs her by the hair and yanks her back. The soldier smirks at Beam, locks his sister back in the room, and ties the key to his own wrist. Then, he walks toward Beam. Already furious, Beam loses control when the soldier him. He clenches his fist and lands a powerful punch, knocking the man out instantly. He quickly takes the key, but just as he's about to save his sister, his best friend Ram appears, wearing a police uniform. Ram charges at him on a burning carriage. He cuts the ropes, separating the horses from the carriage. Out of control, the carriage crashes into a stone pillar, flips into the air, and smashes to the ground. A flying wheel knocks Beam back. Shocked, Beam can't believe his best friend is working for the British. He demands an explanation, but Ram, torn between duty and friendship, is heartbroken. In the end, he chooses duty over brotherhood. Ram immediately tries to arrest Beam. Beam pleads, but Ram doesn't listen. He punches Beam hard, sending him flying. The key slips from Beam's hand and falls into a sewer. With his last hope gone, Beam goes berserk. He grabs Ram and slams him to the ground, then swings a chain with a heavy stone attached. Ram dodges, and the stone shatters a fountain. The two brothers, now enemies, fight fiercely. Equally matched, one wields a torch, the other a water gun. Fire and water clash, both end up hurt. A hungry tiger suddenly pounces on Ram. He grabs a fire tube, jumps, and knocks the tiger out with a loud bang. But by the time he recovers, Beam has already climbed into the castle. After parkouring across rooftops, Beam spots his sister and rushes to save her, but Ram throws a vase, smashing the railing. Bhim, standing on it, falls to the ground. He picks up a broken railing and charges at Ram, who kicks him down. Ram picks up a sharp rock, ready to strike, but hesitates. Seizing the moment, Bhim punches Ram's head, pins him down, and stabs him in the chest with a sharp spike. Then he runs to save his sister, but Ram isn't done. He stands, rips off the necklace Bhim gave him, and loops it around Bhim's wrist as he jumps from the castle, demanding his surrender. Bhim looks down. The governor is pointing a gun at his sister. To protect her, he surrenders. In the end, Ram is promoted to a top officer. He walks into the armory, taking control of the weapons he's always dreamed of. The place he seeks reminds Ram of his past. His father was a British soldier. Once, in an Indian village hit by a massive flood, the villagers couldn't pay their grain tax. The British tied the village chief to a tree and sentenced him to death. As the soldier prepared to shoot, the governor stopped him. The governor said, "Do you know how expensive a bullet is? Don't waste it on an animal." He ordered the soldier to use another method. The soldier picked up a 300-pound hammer and killed the chief with a single blow. Witnessing this brutality, Ram's father removed his uniform that night, took his gun, and formed his own army to fight back. Young Ram joined him. Ram was a skilled marksman from childhood. His father was proud but didn't get to share the news before their group was ambushed by British troops. Outgunned, they were quickly slaughtered. Ram watched his mother and younger brother die before his eyes. With his last breath, his father wished for every Indian to have a gun, to drive the British out of their country. For over a decade, Ram worked for the British, aiming to control their armory. Now, he's fulfilled his father's wish. He immediately told his girlfriend, the only one who knew his true identity and his struggles. But even with the armory secured, Ram feels heavy-hearted. The governor orders Ram to whip Bhim as punishment. Ram urges Bhim to kneel and apologize to avoid the lashing, but Bhim refuses. The governor's wife, unsatisfied, demands more blood. Reluctantly, Ram tugs a chain to force Bhim down, but Bhim still won't kneel. The governor's wife notices and screams, "He's not kneeling!" She throws Ram a barbed whip, forcing him to strike harder. Bhim's bloodied body ignites the crowd's fury. They rush to save him, cursing Ram as a traitor. The governor sends troops to suppress the uprising. Ram carries Bhim back to prison, then stands alone in the execution ground, consumed by guilt. He once believed guns were the key to resistance, but today, Bhim's unyielding spirit proves something stronger: unity. Ram makes a decision. He sabotages the armory's guns and slips a blade to his uncle, who passes it to Bhim. The next day, as Bhim is led to the gallows, Ram and his sister follow. At the planned spot, Ram speeds up, pulling a rope that topples a tree onto the governor's car. The governor shoots, flipping Ram's vehicle. His sister falls to the ground. Ram is thrown onto a branch. As soldiers chase his fleeing sister, Ram distracts them, buying her time. Gunfire draws more troops. The fight isn't over. Bhim seizes the chance to cut his bonds with a blade and knocks out the surrounding soldiers. When they try to shoot, their guns jam, thanks to Ram's tampering. Just then, Bhim's sister dashes into the woods, with Ram risking his life to protect her. As they reach a spot, Ram notices one soldier has fixed his gun and aims at Bhim. He quickly raises his own weapon to target that soldier. But Bhim, thinking Ram is about to shoot him, leaps aside. The bullet hits the soldier instead. Misunderstanding Ram's intent, Bhim charges at him and strikes him hard with a log. He nearly kills Ram but can't bring himself to do it. He plants the log beside Ram and leaves with his sister. Though badly injured, Ram grits his teeth and stands up when more soldiers approach, buying time for his brother. Eventually, he's captured and thrown into a heavily guarded prison. Even 2 days before his hanging, Ram keeps doing pull-ups. The governor, puzzled, asks why. Ram replies, "Because I want to see you leave my country. As long as I'm alive, I'll face death without fear, and that terrifies you." Furious, the governor orders his men to beat Ram brutally and lock him in a tiny cell. Yet, in those harsh conditions, Ram never stops training, ready for the day of freedom. Meanwhile, Bhim and his friends live in hiding, hunted by soldiers. Starving for days, they survive on water. Suddenly, British troops burst in. A stunning woman named Mary notices their panic and steps in, telling the soldiers they have smallpox and need urgent care. The soldiers flee at the mention of the disease. Grateful, Bhim learns Mary is searching for her missing husband, a national hero who once betrayed his best friend, Bhim, to help the British. Realizing Mary's husband is Ram, Bhim is overwhelmed with regret. He promises Mary, "Even if it costs my life, I'll save Ram." That night, Bhim sneaks into the governor's heavily guarded prison. Remembering a secret signal, he taps the ground in a familiar rhythm. Instantly, Ram wakes and responds by knocking the wall. Overjoyed, Bhim crawls to Ram's cell, apologizing for misunderstanding his mission. Then, with all his strength, Bhim tears open the iron gate, but quickly draws the attention of British soldiers. He yanks Ram out and carries him on his back. A fierce battle is about to begin. The two men fight as one, determined to break out of the heavily guarded prison. Soldiers swarm them, but they show no fear, knocking out enemies with single punches, grabbing two guns, and picking off soldiers with precise shots. As more soldiers arrive, they climb a watchtower. A single glance between them is enough to coordinate their next move. They backflip, kicking down the guards, then leap off, grabbing a streetlight before landing near the wall, shooting two more soldiers mid-air. They escape into the forest. The British governor gets the news and curses his men as useless. He immediately sends special forces after them. Meanwhile, the two reach an old temple. Bhim tends to Ram's wounds, grinding herbs into powder and bandaging him. He drapes a torn flag over Ram, then notices the temple idol holding a real bow. Thrilled, he leaves it for Ram to defend himself while he goes to the river to drink. Soldiers arrive and take aim at Bhim. Just as they're about to shoot, an arrow strikes one of them. Panicked, they look up. A blinding light shines as Ram transforms into a warrior god. Armed with the bow, he begins his hunt, firing flaming arrows that set the forest ablaze, burning fleeing soldiers alive. Reinforcements charge at Ram, but he shoots a spear mid-air, killing another soldier. The spear falls into the water, and Bhim grabs it, leaping out to impale a motorcycle. The explosion sends nearby bikes flying, a mushroom cloud rising over the forest. They fight through the night until dawn. After taking down the last soldier, they march to the governor's mansion. The governor orders cannons fired at them, but they dodge every shot. Ram signals Bhim, who speeds up a ramp on a bike and jumps off. Ram shoots the airborne bike, sending it crashing into the governor, who stands still, thinking it won't reach him. Instead, it plunges into the armory beneath him, blowing up the entire mansion. Smoke clears. The governor, bloodied, struggles to his feet and sees his wife dead. Bhim drags two huge crates, filled with guns. Ram has finally fulfilled his father's wish, arming their people. He tells the governor, "You said our lives are worth less than a bullet. Today, you'll taste what bullets feel like." He hands Bhim a gun, teaching him to fire his first shot. The guns they now hold are not just weapons, they are symbols of defiance, of a people who refuse to kneel. For when the oppressed rise, the world must listen. Balram is the most talented boy in the Indian slum. At 18, he dreams of becoming a servant for a wealthy landlord's family. But even this humble dream seems unrealistic to the villagers. Under India's caste system, low-caste people aren't even allowed to serve the rich. Yet from age 8, Balram shows exceptional intelligence. He can fluently recite and translate English stories that none of his classmates understand. His principal sees his potential, calling him a rare, white tiger, a once-in-a-generation talent. But despite his gifts, Balram is forced to drop out of school and work because of the landlord's exploitation. Every penny his family earns goes to his cunning grandmother. Things get worse when his father, after years of harsh labor, contracts tuberculosis. There are no hospitals nearby, so Balram carries his sick father for 2 days to reach the nearest one. Still, no doctor treats him, and his father dies. At the funeral, Balram watches as his father's body burns on the pyre. The heat makes his feet curl upward. Too young to understand, Balram thinks his father is still fighting against fate, even in death. In that moment, he sees his own future, decades of the same struggle. Overwhelmed, he faints. Later, he realizes that India's poor are like chickens in a coop. Born trapped, they never think of escaping. Even when they see others slaughtered before them, they do nothing. After his father's death, Balram vows to break free. While working at a tea shop, he eavesdrops on customers, searching for an opportunity. One day, the landlord visits the village with his younger son, Ashok, who just returned from America. Unlike others, Ashok doesn't believe in the caste system and treats the poor kindly. Balram knows this is his chance. He must become Ashok's servant. He overhears that the landlord's family is hiring a driver for Ashok. Balram begs his grandmother for money to learn driving, but she only wants him to marry and have children, more hands to earn for the family. Balram knows marriage will trap him forever, like his older brother, who toils day and night, never leaving the village. Desperate, he promises his grandmother that as the landlord's driver, he'll make her the richest woman in the village. Tempted, she finally gives him 300 rupees. Balram boards a bus to the city, full of hope. Thanks to his sharp mind, he quickly gets his license. His instructor teaches him the harsh truth. A good driver must roar to move forward on these roads. When Balram arrives at the landlord's mansion, the gatekeeper stops him, dismissing him as nobody important. Balram wants to kick him out immediately, but just then the landlord passes by the door. Balram quickly flatters him through the gap. He's from the bottom of society and has known how to please the rich since childhood. When the landlord lets him in, Balram scurries over and crouches at his feet, showering him with compliments. Even though the landlord is well-traveled, the praise makes him a little smug. Learning that Balram is here to interview as a driver, the landlord decides to give him a chance. During the test drive, Balram drives smoothly, and the landlord is impressed. But when he finds out Balram is from a low caste, he hesitates. Balram starts buttering him up again, calling the landlord his second father, and even offering to work without pay. Even after passing the interview, Balram can't start right away. The landlord first investigates every servant's family background. He needs to know where their relatives live in case they steal and run. If a servant flees, they'll kill him and his family too. This is one way the poor stay trapped. Soon, Balram begins working. He lives in the worst house on the landlord's property, but it's still better than the cramped home he shared with over a dozen people. Having never worn clean clothes before, he now gets a new uniform and starts feeling a bit proud. But he quickly realizes things aren't what he expected. Instead of driving, they make him clean. To them, Balram is just a backup driver. The old driver, besides driving, spends his free time playing with the landlord's sons. The difference in treatment is too much for Balram. He knows he'll never get ahead as long as the old driver is around. So he starts secretly watching the old driver, hoping to find dirt and force him out. But after weeks of observation, he sees nothing suspicious, just the old man praying to a table full of idols. Balram is frustrated until one day, he notices the old driver skipping meals during the day. Then, late one night, Balram catches him cooking for himself in secret. The next morning, he follows the old driver and sees him enter a mosque. Now he understands. The old man has been fasting for Ramadan. This gives Balram an idea. The landlord's family is Hindu, and tensions between Hindus and Muslims run deep. But instead of reporting the old driver right away, Balram waits for the perfect moment to make him quit on his own. Around this time, Balram meets Ashok and Pinky for the first time. Unlike the landlord, Ashok doesn't act superior or treat Balram like a servant. Once, Ashok calls Balram a half-baked literate, and Pinky scolds him for being disrespectful. Balram starts liking them both. To win their favor, he studies their every word, learning when to chime in. He even memorizes their favorite foods. Soon, his chance to climb higher comes. A politician visits the landlord's house. Like Balram, she's from a low caste. She's risen to power by campaigning for the poor. The landlord's family made their fortune from coal mines but never paid taxes, thanks to the politician pulling strings behind the scenes. This time, she comes to collect a bribe and demands 2 million rupees right away. The landlord thinks it's too much and hesitates, but the politician gives him an ultimatum, arrogantly spits coffee on the table, and leaves. That night, the family gathers to discuss the problem. Without her help, their future looks grim, but they don't want to pay her that much. Eventually, they decide to find another powerful ally. Ashok volunteers to handle the connections, and the old driver is, of course, chosen for the job. The landlord even gives him a 5,000 rupee bonus. When Balram hears about this, he sees his chance. The next day, he confronts the old driver and exposes his secret. The driver panics and begs for mercy, but Balram feels no pity, just like a chicken doesn't spare another. The driver knows if his secret gets out, the landlord will punish him. With no choice, he quits. Naturally, Balram becomes the official driver, and the trip to the capital is now his responsibility. In the city, Balram sees skyscrapers for the first time. Luxury cars fill the streets, and Ashok's hotel is so fancy that one night's stay costs as much as Balram's monthly wage. It opens his eyes to a whole new world. As a servant, he sleeps in a dark shed in the underground garage, but he's content. Over the next few days, Balram drives the two young masters to different government offices. Since it's his first time in Delhi, he sometimes takes wrong turns, and the elder brother slaps him for it. Luckily, Ashok always defends him and comforts him quietly, making Balram like him even more. Soon, the elder brother leaves by train after introducing Ashok to local politicians. Now, Balram only has Ashok to serve, and he's thrilled. Ashok treats him like a friend, playing tennis and video games with him. For a servant, this is pure happiness. It confirms he made the right choice. The other drivers in the garage mock him because he doesn't cheat his master out of money like they do. They don't understand why Balram respects Ashok. Disgusted by their ways, he moves to a single room to avoid them. Weeks later, Ashok wants to visit his uncle in another city. On the road, Balram accidentally glimpses Pinky's chest. To hide his embarrassment, he rubs his eyes. but Ashok notices and mistakes it for a religious gesture. Balram plays along, pointing at a random tree and claiming Buddha once rested there. The couple, impressed, copy his gesture. Balram is surprised how easily rich people believe things. Emboldened, he keeps up the act for the rest of the trip, pretending to worship every tree and rock they pass. For the same reason, the two of them make the same move. Gradually, Balram feels like a sacred guide to them, leading Ashok and Pinky to their destination. Since the place isn't far from his village, Ashok lets him drive back to visit. Balram swaggers into the village in the car, drawing everyone's attention. It makes him proud, but when he sees his grandmother, she acts strange. Turns out, since Balram left for the capital, he hasn't sent any money home. His grandmother doesn't care how he's doing, only how much money he can give her. After handing over the cash, she finally brightens up and even cooks him a rare chicken feast. Maybe because Balram hasn't been in touch, she feels like she's losing control over him. To keep him sending money, she's already found him a wife. They'll marry soon. But Balram knows, once he's married, he'll never escape this life. He'll end up just like his father. So he makes it clear, he won't marry, and he won't send money anymore. He even tells his brother to break free too. She'll suck you dry till there's nothing left, then let you die like dad. Back with Ashok, Balram hears about his plan to start a business in Bangalore. Eager to leave his family behind, Balram offers to go with him and work for him. His desire to escape is obvious, but Ashok's idea is just a passing thought. That same day, Pinky, usually so gentle, snaps at Balram in front of guests. His uniform is stained with grease and dirt, his hands keep scratching his crotch, and his mouth reeks of betel nut, his teeth yellowed. When Balram brings her coffee, she refuses to drink it and tells him to throw it away. Later, Pinky finds him, not to scold him, but to tell him no one is born a servant. She wants Balram to break free from caste thinking and live like a real person. Pinky was once low caste too but fought her way to America, never giving up despite hardships, and now lives the life she wants. Balram has thought about this before but never dared to try. Now, he looks at himself in a plate's reflection, his yellow teeth, his stench, his filthy clothes, and decides to change. He buys toothpaste and decent clothes, determined to unlearn his old habits. Back home, he scrubs his teeth furiously, his first time brushing, but no matter how hard he tries, the stains won't fade. It's like he can never escape where he came from. Resentment boils inside him. Why did his foolish parents bring him into this world but never teach him anything? Why raise him just to live like an animal? Unlike most, who accept their fate, Balram still wants more. But these setbacks aren't enough to push him over the edge, because a chicken only wakes up when it's about to be slaughtered. What happens next will change his life forever. It's Pinky's birthday, and Balram follows Ashok's instructions to dress up in royal clothes to surprise her. Later, Ashok and Pinky go to a bar while Balram waits outside. Hours pass, and by the time they come out, it's past midnight. Balram plans to drive them back to the hotel, but both are drunk and looking for excitement. Pinky shoves Balram out of the car and takes the wheel. As a servant, he can't refuse and lets them do as they please. Clearly wasted, Pinky speeds down the road. Balram feels uneasy but figures it's fine since it's 2 a.m. He only warns her once when she drives too fast. Though she avoids every obstacle, she doesn't see a child suddenly darting into the street. The car hits the kid, and all three freeze in shock. Balram jumps out first and sees the child is poor. He quickly stops Ashok from checking, knowing they'll be in trouble if they stay. No one saw the accident, so he pushes the panicked couple back into the car and speeds off. Later, while cleaning blood off the car, Balram finds a torn piece of cloth stuck to it. Ashok notices, but Balram reassures him, poor families in India have a dozen kids, they won't even miss one. Even if the parents report it, the police won't care. After Ashok leaves, Balram feels no guilt. In the slums, deaths like this are common, like losing a chicken in a coop. Instead, he's proud of how he handled the crisis, staying loyal to his masters. Days later, the landlord summons Balram, treating him warmly and seating him close. Balram thinks his actions that night earned their gratitude. Even the picky eldest son offers his prized betel nut. Balram hesitates but takes it, savoring the luxury. But just as he expects praise, he notices Ashok's pale face. The eldest son hands him a paper to read aloud. At first, Balram thinks it's good news, until he realizes it's a confession, blaming him for the accident. The landlord even got the grandmother to witness it with her thumbprint. Balram is stunned. After all his loyalty, this is his reward. Ashok tries to defend him but is shut down. Balram stares at Ashok, desperate for help, but nothing comes. Balram knows the consequences of resisting. Pressured by the landlord, he forces a weak smile and finally signs the confession. He understands he can't fight them. Yet, in that moment, a seed of hatred takes root in his heart. After leaving the hotel, Balram can't hold back his anger. Why should the rich get away with their crimes while an innocent poor man takes the blame? Even if the confession is just a precaution, it feels like a knife hanging over his head, ready to drop at any moment. The thought torments him. Balram hides in an underground shack for 2 days until the owner finds him. He learns the landlord has been searching for him since yesterday. Something important. Balram's heart sinks. He sighs, convinced the police must be waiting at the hotel. Too scared to run, he goes back. When he enters the room, there are no police. He relaxes, until the landlord's attitude shifts instantly. He calls Balram a lowly servant, orders him to give a massage, ignoring everything Balram has been through. Furious but helpless, Balram obeys. As he kneels at the landlord's feet, Ashok returns. He barely glances at Balram, sitting on the couch to chat about cricket. Only when Pinky approaches does Balram hear good news. The landlord pulled strings at the police station. Since no one reported the incident, the matter is settled. Balram won't take the blame. Overwhelmed with relief, Balram nearly cries, pressing his head against the landlord's leg. But the landlord kicks him away impatiently. Pinky, furious, argues with him, but she can't change the stubborn ways of this country. After a heated fight, she leaves. With the matter resolved, the landlord and Ashok board a train to leave. But for insurance, they keep the confession. Balram's life remains in their hands. He feels like a chicken that tried to escape its coop, only to be shoved back inside. Sitting on the street, lost in despair, chickens don't pity other chickens, just like he felt nothing for the child killed that night. Later, Balram wakes to the sound of the door. It's Pinky, carrying luggage. She plans to flee India under cover of night. On the way to the airport, she urges Balram to break free, unaware the confession still binds him. After dropping her off, Pinky hands him an envelope and leaves. Inside, Balram finds money, 9,300 rupees. He counts it again and again. Why not a round number? Did she take 700 back from 10,000? The thought enrages him. Even Pinky, who treated him best, betrays him. Balram realizes they've always looked down on him. He spends the rest of his life taking the blame for Pinky, only to get a measly 10,000 rupees as charity. He can't accept this. His heart burns with anger, but there's nowhere to vent it. The next day, when Ashok finds out Pinky has gone back to America, he immediately confronts Balram, demanding to know why he sent her away. Ashok blames everything on Balram and even hits him. After everything that's happened these past few days, Balram snaps. He shoves Ashok back. Ashok is stunned. His usually obedient servant is fighting back.
I wish they had put you in jail.
In that moment, his true feelings come out. He's no human rights champion. Just like before, when he watched Balram sign the confession without stopping him. Deep down, he's still a spoiled rich kid who looks down on lowly people like Balram. After that, Balram waits in the underground garage for 2 days, but Ashok never contacts him. He's scared. Last time he crossed someone, he lost his job. Finally, he decides to stop waiting and sneaks back to the hotel. When Balram enters the bedroom, he finds Ashok drunk. He cleans up the room and even prepares lemon water for his master. But as he approaches Ashok, he sees he's already asleep. Then, feeling bolder, he puts on Ashok's clothes, combs his hair with Ashok's comb, and pours himself a glass of Ashok's expensive whiskey. He pretends to be Ashok, imagining the life of the upper class, where no one can control him. From this moment, his desire for freedom grows stronger. In the days that follow, Balram becomes the only person Ashok confides in. Their bond seems to grow. Balram takes Ashok to eat street food and visit temples. To lift Ashok's spirits, he lies and says Pinky told him before leaving that she believes Ashok will achieve great things. The lie works. Ashok starts to recover. On the surface, Balram takes care of Ashok just like before, playing the perfect servant. But inside, he's forming a new plan. Maybe by helping Ashok, he can build his own future too. Then reality crashes back in when Ashok's brother arrives with news. Pinky wants a divorce. Ashok's newfound hope shatters. He lashes out in anger. When Balram brings him freshly made food to comfort him, thinking they'd become friends after all this time, Ashok knocks the plate out of his hands. At that moment, Balram finally understands. He and Ashok will never be equals. If Ashok isn't worth counting on, he'll have to plan for himself. He seeks out the owner of an underground shack, a former driver like him, hoping for advice. But the man's words crush him. If you're lucky, you'll work till you're 50 and end up like me, running a shack with your savings. But if your master fires you halfway, you might end up with nothing. Balram stays silent. He doesn't want either fate. Now he has only one goal: save as much money as he can. In the following days, Balram learns the tricks other drivers use to cheat their masters. Like, Balram lies about car repairs, using fake receipts to take money from his master. He siphons out the fuel Ashok buys and sells it to other drivers. Later, he grows bolder, using the master's car to pick up passengers on the street. He used to despise this kind of behavior, but now he feels no guilt taking the money. To him, it's just compensation. One night, after dropping off a passenger, he finds Ashok sitting on his bed. Ashok says, "I know what you've been doing." Balram panics, thinking his schemes are exposed. But Ashok actually believes Balram has been sneaking out at night to pray for him at the temple. Balram quickly plays along. He knows Ashok is drunk again, so he climbs into bed and listens like a friend as Ashok pours out his troubles. But Balram sees through it all. When Ashok drinks, they're friends. But come morning, it's back to master and servant. Like the time Balram hands a beggar a coin while parked on the street. His masters are displeased. A servant, they say, has no right to give money. That's something only the rich can do. Balram apologizes quickly, but that same night, he spots two people talking in the distance. As a driver, he's learned to read lips through the rearview mirror. He's sure of what he hears. The older brother is urging Ashok to replace him. Balram feels danger closing in. The next day, Ashok leaves to bribe a politician but forgets his phone. He hands Balram a red bag before heading out. Burning with curiosity, Balram peeks inside. It's stuffed with cash, enough to cover 3 years of his wages. He fights the urge to keep it, but from that moment, his eyes keep drifting back to the bag. The thought of being sent back to the slums gnaws at him. Even while driving, he starts hallucinating. His long-dead father appears, whispering, "Who do you think they're stealing money from? Ordinary people like us," fueling his desire. After dropping Ashok at the hotel that night, Balram finds himself at the train station, plotting escape routes if he takes the money. Meanwhile, Ashok's political bribe fails. The woman who once visited their home wins the election, backed by the poor, who see her low-caste roots as their hope. Ashok has no choice but to apologize and offer $1 million as a gift, but she knows he secretly funded her opponent and demands $4 million instead, due next week. Trapped, Ashok agrees. Balram overhears everything. The sum ignites new thoughts, but it's not enough to push him over the edge. Not yet. The next day, Balram makes up his mind when his nephew comes from the village to see him. The nephew brings a letter from Granny. It turns out Balram hasn't sent money home for months, and Granny is furious. She says she's already arranged his wedding. If he doesn't return, she'll send the bride to him. She'll also write to the landlord and get him fired. The letter makes Balram even angrier. After reading it, he slaps his nephew in a rage. The letter shatters any remaining hope he had for his family. Before this, he worried his theft might bring disaster to them. Now, he doesn't care anymore. The next day, when Ashok learns Balram's nephew is visiting, he generously gives Balram a day off. But Balram knows rich men don't do favors for no reason. Sure enough, he spots Ashok interviewing another driver outside the hotel. This confirms Ashok plans to replace him. Still, Balram takes his nephew to the zoo for the whole day. There, he finds the rare white tiger, the kind that appears only once in a generation. Since childhood, Balram has believed he's a white tiger, but when he finally sees one, he realizes the tiger carries an air of nobility, as if it could never be enslaved or bow to anyone. Thinking of all the years he's been bullied, how everyone has tried to turn him into a slave, Balram decides he won't be oppressed anymore. He refuses to go back to the village and face his blood-sucking granny. Then, his vision goes black, and he faints again. But this time, unlike the despair of his childhood, his heart is full of joy, because the key to freedom is right in front of him. A poor man's chance comes only once. He decides to take it. Back home, he smashes a liquor bottle, checks if the shards are sharp enough, and hides one under the car seat. He cleans the car inside and out, then prays devoutly to the old driver's god statue, hoping his plan will succeed. Balram and his nephew wait in the shack for days until the day Ashok is supposed to deliver the money. Before leaving, Balram gives his nephew some cash, silently praying the boy is smart enough to run away when he realizes Balram won't return the next day. Then, Balram drives off. That night, it's pouring rain. Balram watches as Ashok climbs into the car with a red bag. Though Balram isn't as strong as Ashok, once Ashok is in the car, he's still the same naive, easy-to-fool master. Soon, Balram pulls over on a deserted roadside and stops the car. Pretending there's a problem with the tire, he steps out, gripping the broken bottle. After checking that no one's around, he sets it on the ground. Then, he tells Ashok the tire can't be fixed alone and asks for help. Not wanting to be late, Ashok agrees and crouches to inspect the tire. Balram picks up the bottle. Ashok collapses. Balram quickly pins him down and strikes him several more times. Watching Ashok writhe in pain, Balram feels no pity. He flips Ashok over, presses the bottle to his neck, and slashes without hesitation. Until his last breath, Ashok can't believe it. How could a chicken waiting to be slaughtered suddenly turn into the fierce white tiger? After finishing the job, Balram quickly drives away from the scene. He shouts loudly on the road, trying to ease his fear. But when he sees the red bag in the back seat, he smiles with joy. He knows he's finally succeeded. Later, he takes the money to the train station. He plans to leave right away, but when he sees a child sitting on the ground nearby, he changes his mind. In the end, he returns to the slum and escapes with his nephew. They ride the train for 2 days and nights until they reach Bangalore, the place Ashok once called India's Silicon Valley. But he doesn't rush into anything. He rents a place and stays there for a month because he keeps waking up from nightmares. He's not heartless like the rich, who can kill and go on with their lives as if nothing happened. After a month, he starts looking for opportunities in the city with the money. He remembers what Ashok told him. There are many chances in the outsourcing business here. Soon, he notices how many drivers and call centers are constantly dealing with Americans. That's when he realizes there's a big opportunity in the taxi business. But how to get rid of the competition? Balram learns one thing from Ashok. He takes some of his money and visits the local police chief. Soon, with the chief's help, the police arrest all the taxi drivers for expired licenses. Balram seizes the moment and starts his own taxi company, White Tiger Taxi Service. He hires all the drivers to work for him. Why don't the police touch him? Because he's got a common face in India, and he's changed his name, the same name as his former master. But unlike Ashok, he doesn't care what religion his drivers follow, and he doesn't treat them like family. If there's an accident, he doesn't blame the driver. Instead, he finds the victim's family, gives them money they're happy with, and promises to train one of their own as a driver for his company. Because of his humane approach, his business grows fast. He becomes truly rich, leaving his poor life behind. As for his family's fate, he only reads about it in the papers, a news story about a family wiped out. This film brutally exposes the reality of India's underclass. It suggests that for low-caste people, there are only 2 ways to change their fate: politics or crime. It makes us feel how hard life is for India's poor. At the same time, through the story of one underdog's rise, the film boldly uncovers the darkness of India's upper class. The rich use bribes and tricks to control the law and the media, building walls of money to keep the poor trapped in the mud they've created. The protagonist, that small, unnoticed man, slowly climbs out through the cracks. With cunning and ruthlessness, he tears off the system's mask, showing the audience that true darkness isn't in the night, it's in power. A group of boys are playing baseball on the street. By accident, the ball rolls into a drainage ditch. When a boy named Tom goes to retrieve it, he finds a charred human arm. The police arrive immediately after receiving the report. The protagonist, Ram, is a corrupt officer, and cases like this fall under his jurisdiction, even though it's clearly a human arm. The police insist it's a monkey's arm to avoid trouble. The nearest house to the drainage ditch belongs to a wealthy businessman, Bassi. Ram doesn't want to escalate the situation, so he gives the boy who found the arm some money, and publicly praises him for being alert. A man inside the big house watches this scene unfold. He knows the police will brush it off. Today, I'm going to talk about a high-rated crime thriller, Sector 36. The police take bribes to cover up crimes. Laws and human rights take a backseat when money is involved. Ram, the deputy police chief, is living large off dirty money. One day, a man named John comes to the station to report that his 14-year-old daughter went missing after her exams. He begs Ram to send officers to search for her. No bribe, yet expecting the police to help? Wishful thinking. Ram pulls out a few bills from the stack he just collected and tries to shoo John away. But John has only one daughter and keeps pleading for Ram's help. Ram tells him to post her photo in the hallway. The police will look into it when they have time. Only then does John notice the hallway walls are covered with missing girls' posters. To make sure his daughter stands out, he pins her photo in the most visible spot. Will John ever find his child? Prem is a servant in the wealthy businessman Bassi's house. Every weekend, Bassi leaves town to party. leaving Prem alone in the huge mansion. John's missing 14-year-old daughter? Prem has her. Prem has a twisted hobby. After he's done with his victims, he dismembers them, even selling some organs for profit. It's a full-blown black market operation. Most of the missing children on the police station's wall probably ended up in Prem's hands. Prem gets away with his crimes because the police turn a blind eye. One night, while Tom is out buying groceries, he runs into Prem, who's hunting for his next victim. Prem lures him with chocolate. Lesson learned: never take candy from strangers. Tom begs, "Let me go! My dad's a cop!" But Prem couldn't care less about the police. Prem has a wife and daughter of his own. So how did he become a child-killing monster? Flashback to 15 years ago. Young Prem cowers in a corner. The greasy man bringing him food is a predator who preys on boys. The man runs a butcher shop. As soon as a customer leaves, he assaults young Prem. Pushed to his limit, Prem grabs a cleaver and swings. Once, twice, 3 times, until the predator lies lifeless in a pool of blood. Traumatized, Prem's mind twists. He becomes just like the monster who hurt him. After dismembering Tom, Prem keeps the meat for himself and sells the kidneys to his regular buyer, Chote. Their conversation makes it clear. This is a well-established trade. Under cover of darkness, he dumps the remaining body parts into the same foul-smelling drain. That same day, Bassi returns home and receives a mysterious phone call. After discussing business, Bassi asks a girl named Chumki to come over the next night. The young girl dresses up at home, ready to meet her employer, but instead of a life-changing opportunity, she is brutally murdered. Since the police ignore missing children cases, Prem becomes even bolder in his crimes. Within just a few days, 9 more children disappear. Posters searching for the missing kids are plastered right outside the police station. A few days later, the town celebrates a festival. Chumki's father, holding his daughter's photo, approaches Ram, asking for help to find his daughter, who hasn't returned home in 4 days. She never came back after visiting the wealthy businessman Bassi. Ram tells him to confront Bassi instead of relying on the police. Chumki's father snaps. "Isn't finding people your job? You get paid for doing nothing. If this happened to your daughter, you'd understand." Ram threatens, "Want me to beat you black and blue?" As if cursed by Chumki's father's words. After Ram finishes his performance, he finds his daughter being carried away by a masked man near the restroom. It's Prem. When spotted, Prem drops the girl and flees. Furious, Ram hands his daughter to his wife and chases after Prem. Hurting his daughter is like tearing out Ram's heart. He chases relentlessly, nearly catching Prem twice. But his lack of fitness lets Prem escape. Only then does Ram notice the walls covered in missing children posters. Now he truly understands the pain of those parents. If he hadn't acted in time, his daughter could have ended up like one of those missing kids. Meanwhile, a panicked Prem returns to his hideout, where his accomplice scolds him for targeting Ram's daughter. Realizing he messed with the wrong man, Prem plans to send incriminating recordings to his allies. If Ram identifies him, those tapes contain damning secrets. Ram rushes to the hospital to check on his daughter. His wife's scolding hits hard. "You can't even protect your own child. How can you protect others' kids? You're a father. Go catch that bastard." Her words awaken both his paternal instincts and his duty as a police officer. That night, he tells Chumki's father to come to the station the next day. He'll take the case personally. But Prem's gang doesn't stop. This time, they target a wealthy neighborhood, kidnapping a boy right under his mother's nose. The police chief holds a press conference, promising a nationwide manhunt. Just then, Ram rings the doorbell. When Prem opens the door, he thinks he's been recognized, his guilty eyes darting nervously. But Ram isn't there for the rich woman's son. He's following Chumki's father's lead, tracking the wealthy merchant Bassi. Bassi avoids Ram's questions, instead showing him the chief's press conference. "Your boss and I were college roommates," he boasts. He's the son of the home minister, a political heavyweight. By flaunting his ties to the chief, Bassi tries to pressure Ram with power. His servant Prem also claims Chumki never visited, so Bassi denies any involvement. He has no idea about her disappearance. Just then, Chumki's father bursts in. "He kidnapped my daughter. That bastard ruined her. He raped her." Bassi can't stand being insulted in his own home. "How dare you come here and shame me, and accuse me of rape? You're the one who sold your daughter for money." Ram listens, realizing there's more to the story. Why didn't he say this earlier? Before, Chumki's father claimed she worked here as a secretary. "She's no secretary. She's a call girl. Her father sold her. I pay him 30,000 rupees a month." And even more for her. Ask him yourself. I've been supporting their whole family. Ram is shocked by Bassi's words. What kind of father would sell his own daughter for money? Chumki's father, now flustered, starts stammering. Furious, Ram confronts him right in front of Bassi. Seizing the chance, Bassi calls his old friend, the police chief, and complains about Ram. Ram gets an earful from the police chief over the phone. Prem, watching from the side, sees it all. Even as Ram leaves, Prem can't resist mocking him. Prem acts so bold because he knows Bassi has his back. Even if he causes chaos, his boss will protect him. The kidnapping of the rich woman's son makes headlines. Reporters swarm the police station for live updates. Ram asks the police chief to track a SIM card, a lead in Chumki's disappearance case. But the police chief has all officers searching for the rich kid. He says, "Who has time to care about the poor? Chumki's just a prostitute. Why bother?" Ram says, "No matter what she was, she vanished from Bassi's house. The rickshaw driver took her there last." The police chief says, "Those kids don't go missing, their fathers sell them. So drop the Chumki case. If you want a promotion, help the rich woman solve this high-profile kidnapping, and you'll go far." He warns Ram, "Don't drag Bassi into this, or else you'll regret it." Will Ram give up on Chumki's case? Back at the office, he's too upset to work. His two subordinates notice his mood. The rickshaw driver who took Chumki to Bassi's house is still locked up. Ram orders his release. Keeping him won't help, but when returning the driver's phone, Ram stops. Why would a rickshaw driver suddenly buy a new phone? He checks the call log. Only one contact. Prem, Bassi's servant. There's even a missed call from him. Ram realizes the driver won't talk without pressure. After getting a confession, he heads to the police chief's office, requesting Prem's arrest. Every time Bassi wanted to see Chumki, this rickshaw driver took her there. That night, he dropped her off as usual, but after 2 hours, she never came out. Later, Prem, Bassi's servant, gave the rickshaw driver a phone and told him to get rid of it. He also instructed the driver to say that Chumki had gotten off at the train station if anyone asked. In reality, the phone belongs to Chumki, but the greedy driver keeps it for himself instead of disposing of it. Ram requests the police chief to arrest Prem, Bassi's servant, as he is clearly the prime suspect in Chumki's disappearance. After hearing this, the chief orders his subordinates to prepare a suspension order. Ram is no longer fit to be his subordinate. Meanwhile, the missing rich kid is successfully found by the police, setting a record for the fastest case resolution. After being suspended, Ram spends his days watching Prem's every move. He notices a round-faced man on a motorcycle frequently visiting Prem, and their relationship seems suspicious. One day, Ram's colleague invites him for a drink and shares news. The chief has been promoted and transferred for solving the kidnapping case, meaning Ram can return to duty. Then, the colleague recognizes someone, the same man who stood by the ambulance the night Ram's daughter was taken and who transported her to the hospital. Ram takes a closer look and realizes it's the same round-faced man who's been meeting Prem. If they're accomplices, that ambulance was likely used as cover for kidnapping children, since no one would suspect it. Ram also discovers the round-faced man is a pharmacist working at a pathology lab, owned by the wealthy businessman Bassi. Could this mean Bassi is behind the kidnappings and organ trafficking? That night, Ram and his team abduct the round-faced man. After a couple of slaps, he confesses, Prem kidnapped Ram's daughter, and he only drove the ambulance. It seems Ram's suspicions were correct. On the day Ram returns to the police station, he meets two chiefs, the outgoing one and the newly appointed one. The new chief, impressed by Ram's record, shows him favor, while the old chief feels uneasy, knowing Ram won't drop the Chumki case. The old chief immediately calls Bassi several times, but the new chief, unfamiliar with him, isn't swayed. He cares more about results. Ram takes the new chief to where the round-faced man is held, but when they arrive, he's already gone. The guards had stepped out for food. With their key witness missing, their only hope now is the rickshaw driver's testimony. The new chief orders Prem's arrest immediately. With the chief's backing, Prem is brought in that same night. The moment he sees Ram, he admits his mistake. He shouldn't have targeted Ram's daughter. Had he known her identity, he would never have kidnapped her. Clearly, someone powerful is pulling the strings. Prem then tries to provoke Ram. Remember the day you cowered in front of Bassi? If Ram reacts in front of the new chief, his plan will backfire. But Ram isn't the reckless man he used to be. When asked if he knows Chumki, Prem remains eerily calm. She's dead. I strangled her with my own hands. Even Ram didn't expect him to confess so quickly. But why kill her? As a servant, Prem has fragile self-esteem. Women like Chumki humiliate him, stepping on his pride. He reenacts the crime scene, strangling Chumki from behind. In his excitement, he spills another secret, killing a sleazy man in his youth. Ram asks how he disposed of Chumki's body. Prem doesn't hide it, describing in detail how he dismembered and dumped her. I may not be handsome, but I'm not stupid. Corpses stink if left indoors. Tossing them in the sewer, they bloat and float in days. So he bagged different body parts and buried them, dumping the rest in city drains. Ram suddenly thinks of someone, the round-faced pharmacist. The two are close, even conspiring to kidnap Ram's daughter. Ram suspects they're trafficking organs. Prem fumes, thinking the pharmacist ratted him out, so he admits it. He assaults victims, eats their flesh, and sells usable organs for money. The chief is horrified. This monster doesn't just kill, he also eats their flesh. After tasting human flesh as a teen, Prem couldn't stop. He craves it every few months. Once, he resisted for a year for his daughter's sake, but the hunger won. The missing children on the posters? Mostly eaten by him. About 25, he estimates. One was Tom, the boy whose charred arm was found in the drain. Ram had given him candy then. Ram seethes. Why target children? Prem's answer is cold. Few are as lucky as your daughter, born with everything. These kids are nobodies. No jobs, no future, just slaves to the rich. Their organs give them purpose, their only value. The chief cuts in. Did Bassi know? Prem clams up. Snitching means losing his protector, he says. Ask something else. The next day, Ram takes Prem to identify the burial site. Behind Bassi's villa, in drains and yards, they dig up bags of bones and skulls. Cops vomit at the stench. A crowd gathers. When Prem unearths Chumki's bag, her father collapses. It's hers. The old police chief panics when he sees the news. These crimes happened during his tenure. Worse, if the organ trafficking and corruption involving officials and businessmen come to light, his position is at risk. Thanks to the old chief's powerful father, a high-ranking minister, Ram is dismissed. Another loyal officer is brought in to replace Ram. It's no secret that power trumps the law. When trouble hits, small fry take the fall while the real culprits keep doing as they please. The old chief is now the investigation chief. He suppresses the charges against Bassi. To find evidence, Ram asks the new chief for help. He needs to talk to Prem alone. He believes Prem is hiding something. When they meet, Ram asks how Prem sent the organ trafficking money home. Ram knows Prem never left Bassi's mansion. Prem says he always gave the money to the locksmith to send to his wife. Ram tells him firmly, the locksmith never sent the money. Call your wife if you don't believe me. Prem gets agitated. Without money, his wife is suffering. He begs Ram to tell Bassi to save him. Ram replies, Bassi has pinned everything on you. He claims you acted alone. He was traveling and knew nothing. Kidnapping, abuse, he says it was all you. Check the news, everyone hates you now. Even the dogs in your village would bite you. Realizing he's been betrayed, Prem decides to expose everything. He reveals a recorded disc. To get it, Ram travels overnight to Prem's village. His wife hands over the disc. When Ram sees the footage, he's horrified. It shows Bassi assaulting and killing a lot of girls. With the evidence, Ram hitches a ride back to the city. But the car carries 3 men, all assassins sent by the old chief. Ram is stabbed to death. The disc is destroyed. 6 months later, the old chief clears Bassi's name. Prem is sentenced to death. Ram's subordinate, Jack, takes Ram's place. It's clear now, Ram was betrayed twice. The first time, the round-faced pharmacist mysteriously got taken away. That time, Jack tipped off the old chief about the pharmacist's location. The second time, when Ram went for the disc, Jack put him on that fatal ride. As a reward, the old chief promotes Jack. The film tackles bold themes, exposing illegal trades, organ trafficking, corruption, and systemic apathy. In the end, 3 suspects in Ram's disappearance case are arrested. The same 3 who killed him in the car. Ram's other subordinate sees the news and is overcome with grief. Anyone with a shred of conscience and duty wouldn't let evil run wild. To play it safe, before returning, Ram mailed the disc to this subordinate. The one he carried was a fake. This sets up the sequel. Now, can this subordinate hand the evidence to the chief? And with this disc, can the chief take down Bassi and his powerful backers for good? Let's look forward to the second part of this movie.